What if it actually, somebody did try it and just failed miserably? You need to look at your industry and see what's already working and stick with that. Well, hey friends, welcome back to the podcast. This is episode number 394. We're going to be talking today about how to validate a business idea that you have, or how to vet a business idea. It's funny because when I got the notes, my team helps me do all the notes for the podcast, and they always come up with the titles, and the title is how to validate your business idea. And I was like, okay, I don't love the word validate. I would say how to vet your business idea. And so then I was like, okay, let me just change the word validate to vet. And I don't know how to spell vet. Turns out, is it VETT or is it VETTE? Or is there another spelling? I actually don't know. So just funny little sidebar. Do you ever have words that you're like, that should be really easy? And for some reason that does not look right. So that's where we are with the word vet. But basically what I'm trying to say with either word, validate or vet, is how do you make sure that an idea that you have would actually work? And the reason I want to talk about this is because sometimes we have people who come into my coaching groups, they come into my mastermind, and they haven't really validated their idea. And I'm going to give you some examples of how to validate it. And so then they can be sometimes surprised when they don't have the results that they're looking for. They're not making sales. And so one of the things that I have told people forever and ever and ever is when they come to me and they're like, I have some ideas for a business. I'm trying to figure out how to pick one. I don't really know which one I should do. I always tell them this. And if you're watching me on YouTube right now, you're going to see me. Okay. So I want you to imagine three circles, and the three circles overlap, each other on the edges, and then all three of them in the center. Okay. So you've got three circles that are overlapping. In one circle needs to be the thing that you're passionate about. So what is it that you could stay up all night talking about, thinking about? What is it that you find yourself Googling? What is it that you dream about, that thing that, is in your heart? What is your passion? What do you feel passionate about? And by the way, sometimes we have passions that are not our main moneymaker. Sometimes the things that we're passionate about, we need to be doing something that brings in and generates an income in order to fund a passion project. Way too many people think that, well, if this is my passion, then this should be my business. Au contraire, mon frère. That was French, by the way. Hopefully I'm dazzling you with my 2 words of French right there. So your passion isn't always enough. It's not actually enough for a business to vet it and to validate it. So your passion sometimes is a project that you need to start on the side. And then you're able to use a different business that generates revenue to actually fund your passion project. Okay. Okay. So back to the 3 circles. So one circle is going to be, what is it that you're passionate about? Meaning, what is it that you love? What is it that you don't hate? It doesn't have to be the thing that checks every single box for you, but it has to be something that you don't hate. So what is the thing that you love, that you feel relatively passionate about? Okay. Number 2, the number 2 circle is going to be, what are you actually good at? Because the truth is, you can be passionate about something, but not good at it. And you can't use an idea for business. You can't try to do that one if you're not good at something. Okay. I'm going to tell you the way it is. So let me give you an example. If I was to tell you that I'm super passionate about singing in the shower. Okay. The truth is, I'm awful at singing. This is why I'm not on the worship team at church. and good for me, Jason is equally as bad at singing. So our worship together, it makes a joyful noise. Actually, it's highly unlikely, but you know what I'm saying? Even though it's something that I really enjoy and I'm passionate about, and I'm actually not that passionate about singing, by the way, but I'm not any good at it. I'm not any good at it. And so you have to be good at the thing. And also it has to be something that you really love. Okay. And then the third thing is, what is it that people actually want? What will people actually pay for? What have you seen in the marketplace that's a legit business? If you've seen the idea that you have being done by others, that's validation that perhaps your business idea is going to work, right? So when you're thinking about, well, what is it that people want? What have you seen people pay for? What are the problems that people are staying awake at night thinking of? How can you solve that problem for them? What is it that people are wanting and needing? Okay, so there's that. So where you see these 3 things overlap, is a great place to start in terms of your business. You are super passionate about it, or you really love it, you're really good at it, and people are paying other people to do this, where those three things overlap. So if you've got 5 ideas, like make sure you check all those boxes, and that's the idea that you're going to go with. Okay. What happens is sometimes people, for instance, will not be an expert in an area. And by the way, expert doesn't mean that you haven't necessarily like letters behind your name, a title, you've got a certification, and people, regard you as a complete expert in the world on this thing. Expert just means that you're a couple steps ahead of the people that you're going to be teaching, training, coaching, etc. Okay. If you haven't had success in the area that you're going to be teaching or coaching or helping in, it is completely out of integrity for you to design a business around that topic. It just is. For instance, like let's say you wanted to teach people how to have a happy marriage, but the truth is you've never been married. See how that's totally out of integrity? Super easy to think what is required to have a happy marriage when you've never been married. It's kind of like a video of you've had friends, family, people that, maybe you had children before they had children. And they like to tell you things when your kids are little about how they'll never, when they have kids, their kids will never X, Y, Z. And, they have lofty ideas about parenthood. And those of us that are parents, we just nod our heads and keep our mouth shut because we know it's so easy to say when you don't have kids. I mean, can I get an amen? Somebody just on YouTube right now, just comment below. Jennifer, I totally get everything you're saying. So, okay. So I need you to make sure that you're staying in integrity with your business idea. If you're still in the middle or very beginning stages of learning something yourself, it's probably not quite time for you to be teaching others. So if you are just learning about, gut health, and you've just taken a class a couple of weeks ago on gut health, and you're just trying to, get your own supplements, what you need for better gut health, and you're just studying probiotics, and you're finally figuring out what irritates you and inflames you and all those things, like it's not the time. You're not an expert enough yet to really be teaching other people. And what concerns me is when people teach before they're ready, it's A, out of integrity, and B, a lot of times it doesn't have the success that people want because there just hasn't been enough experience there yet. Does that make sense? And that is not to say you can't still be a beginner and teach, because you can. But I'm just saying that make sure you're staying in integrity and you're not trying to teach on something you yourself have not had any sort of success in. Okay. So what happens is, sometimes people will jump into business and I feel like, they haven't really validated it yet, whether or not it's going to be a winner chicken dinner. And I want to give you some like kind of ideas of what I mean by that. All right. So every once in a blue moon, I'll have a woman come into my coaching group and they'll want to do something that they've never seen anybody do before. And they want to put together, their course or their own mastermind or their consulting package in a way that they've never seen before and I've never seen before. Now, first of all, this doesn't mean that it's not going to work. But here's what I do wonder. What if it actually, somebody did try it and just failed miserably? Like if you are really needing to make sure you have a business that generates revenue, make sure you've seen it out in your industry, in your niche. Make sure you've seen people doing it in that way. And by the way, I'm not telling you to copycat other people in your industry, but I'm telling you, if you've never seen the thing, maybe it's because somebody tried the thing and it really failed. Maybe it's because your industry isn't ready for that yet. Maybe you are a trendsetter, and that's going to work down the road. But for right now, you need to look at your industry and see what's already working and stick with that. Now, you may want to give me some pushback on that and say, but what about like Mark Zuckerberg? He never saw Facebook and he invented that. Different. Okay. And remember what I said is if you're needing to generate revenue right away. So beware just of trying to create like a brand new niche that nobody's seen, a brand new industry, try to do a brand new idea, but you've not been able to actually even find other people who have had success in that area. And this is, by the way, a good time to use Google. Use Google, do a search, see if the idea you have for like, let's say you wake up one day and you're like, you know what I need to do? I need to be an encouragement coach. And so what I'd want you to do is I'd want you to go to Google and I'd want you to search the terms encouragement coach and see what you come up with. See, how much SEO you're seeing, how many people are actually calling themselves an encouragement coach, what they're saying that they're actually doing. And by the way, I don't like the idea of an encouragement coach at all. I will forever say that encouragement does not sell. Encouragement is something that we should do because we're decent human beings. Especially for those of us that are believers, like encouragement should just be as natural as your first language to you. But encouragement in and of itself does not sell. It has to come from an angle. So just encouraging women, that's not going to sell. Encouraging women who have gone through pregnancy loss as they try to get pregnant again, that will be helpful to people. And that has an angle. Not that you're trying to misuse that angle, but you know what I'm saying? It can't just be like the broad term of encouragement. Nobody's going to pay for that. Encouragement in what? I teach brand new homeschooling families how they can make the transition from public school over to private school. You encourage them in that way and also teach them. That's different than just trying to sell encouragement. So hopefully that's helpful. Like a little sidebar. Okay. So another thing about like vetting the idea. One way you can vet an idea is to ask people that you know their thoughts on it. Also talk to people who you think would be like your ideal client, what it is that they want, what it is that they need. And then like think about and marinate on their feedback. That will help you to like validate your idea that you have for a business. I always suggest people do some free one-on-one coaching. You can be posting some things on your personal Facebook. Hey, I am looking for 5 people that I can teach about counting macros. And if that's something that you're interested in doing, I want you to, send me a DM or whatever. So do some free coaching, because what that will do is if you can do some free coaching in that industry, in that niche, A, you can see, do you really love it as much as you think you do? B, are you actually as good at it as what you're going to need to be to coach on it? And C, were you able to help people enough that you know that other people would pay for that transformation? Whenever you can do a little bit of coaching for free in the beginning, that will help you to get testimonials, which is going to help your business look more legit to others. It's going to help you with feedback that'll help you refine your business idea before you actually like start it. I hope that makes sense. So my intention with this podcast, by the way, was not to like discourage anybody from any business idea that you have, but I did just want to, bring some things to your attention because I hate it when I see people try things in their business. It hasn't been vetted. They've never seen anybody do it and it falls flat, or they really don't have, the wherewithal to do it. They really aren't far enough ahead of the people they would need to be coaching to do it. So vet your idea first. Make sure you are something that you love, that you're good at, that people will pay you for. Make sure you've seen other people doing it in your industry and doing it in this particular way. Also, don't copy. There's that. Okay. Find some people who you think would be your ideal client, run your ideas by them, listen to their feedback, do some coaching for free so you can get some testimonials, you can get feedback, and you can really hone in on the way that you're going to launch this business, what the business is going to include, what it's going to look like in a way that people have already told you, oh yes, this is absolutely going to work. And then you feel much more confident about it. And by the way, that really does help validate your business when you've tried some things out on some other people and you really have the belief deep down in you that you can do this as well. So last thing here. When you are thinking about your brand new business idea and you're thinking about, will this be successful or not? Can I actually start a course on this topic? Can I start a paid group on this topic? I want you to remember that the bigger problem that you help people solve, the easier it will be to actually grow it and to generate revenue off of it. So like if you help people make money, it's going to be so much easier to grow. If you solve a huge problem for people, like there was a real estate person that I had heard of at one time who had a membership group, and it was like $297 a month, which is high for a membership group, right? But essentially he wrote up like all the marketing materials for different real estate agents every month, and they got those inside of his paid group. He solved the problem of people not having the time and not knowing what to put in a newsletter. And so he solved that problem for people and was able to charge accordingly. So if you can solve a big pressing problem for people, it will be so much easier to grow your business. So, all right. Want to leave you guys with a freebie. If you are someone who is wondering, like, what kind of coaching could I actually do? Should I do a course like Jen was just talking about, or should I do a paid group, or should I perhaps just consider like one-on-one consulting? You can go to jenniferallwood.com/quiz, jenniferallwood.com/quiz, and take a little quiz there. It's fun, it's easy, it's short, and it'll give you some good feedback. So I hope that that's helpful. I am always rooting for you guys. Thank you so much for being here. We'll see you again on the next episode of the Jennifer Allwood Show. Bye-bye.